Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha Kovalayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashem Rakahakodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule well and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. I'm seeing this article. It says pastor's wife sparks backlash after saying she was graced by God to help husband meet side chick, right? So this is her right here. The husband, a little side picture here. And, as I was reading through it, let's just read through some of it. And, we can just grab some scripts or whatever, by the Spirit. It says Kelly Steele, the wife of a prominent Phoenix-based pastor, Reginald Steele, is facing intense criticism online after sharing that she once felt graced by God to iron her husband's clothes as he prepared to meet another woman. A confession that has ignited fierce debate over the faith, marriage, and self-worth. In a now viral video clip from the popular Dear Future Wifey podcast, Steele describes enduring emotional pain during a rocky season in her marriage. Despite her husband allegedly not coming home on weekends and telling her things like, I hate you and I wish I never married you, Steele says she relied on her Christian faith to maintain her composure and continue serving him. Okay, I guess this is something that she's saying. She says, although he would go out for weekends, I would literally help him get ready to go meet a side chick by ironing his clothes, she said. These are all things I was graced to do. I would not encourage anybody to do that unless you are graced by God, right? She added that once she embraced her identity in Christ, a radical heart shift took place. I would allow God's voice to be louder than his. Well, first of all, we know that who she's thinking of. She's thinking of white Jesus. She's thinking of the idol, white Jesus. And the Lord's name is not Jesus. His name is Yahweh, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And when she's thinking of God, she's thinking of that butt naked image of all these pictures that you see online. Normally when you put God in, they're normally always some butt naked pictures of him laid up, touching fingers with some other man with some little butt naked white angels around him. You know what I'm saying? But that has nothing to do with the Lord, man. The Father's name is Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. So as she's going through all this, she has that zeal, but it's not according to knowledge. What she's doing, she feels as if she should be doing as far as the scriptures, but she's just not doing it according to, believing on the Father Yahweh and the Son Yahushai, And this guy that's supposedly be a pastor, him dogging her out and doing her like that, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that he can't have another woman. He should be able to have another woman. See, this lady, she's just kicked back like, well, he's cheating on me. She's not thinking that, he can have multiple wives. Because when you get to talking to these Christian women, and that's most of your Christians, is out of the millions and millions and millions of Christians, mass majority of them are women. Those are the ones that, that kind of keep that shit going. You know what I'm saying? Financially, a lot of men, it's the woman, man. So, but when you ask these women, and they're Christians, hardcore to the core, if you ask them about having multiple wives, they're going to tell you no. They're not going to want their husband dealing with no other woman because they're feminists and they have a Western mindset. They don't think, as far as the Bible, as far as the Bible or the scriptures, that's an Eastern way of life. It's not a Western way of life. See, in the West, women are set on a pedestal and they're being, they're worshiped, so to speak. But in the East, men are the ones, the prize that's on the pedestal and that's, worship, so to speak, So let's read a little bit more. It says social media is not having it. Of course, these Western women are not. They'll tell you they're Christians, but they're not having it. They're not going for no man being with no other woman. They can't even tell you. Matter of fact, I came across one chick. She was talking about, she was straight hardcore Christian. I said, you do know that Jacob had 4 wives. I said, you believe in the 12 tribes of Israel? She's like, yeah. I said, you do know that the 12 tribes of Israel come from four different women, right? She's like, no, that's not true. She didn't even know. She didn't even know that, Jacob had 4 women that the 12 tribes of Israel came from. She didn't know. But then when they see that, they'll be like, oh, yeah, but that was the Old Testament. That's not going on anymore. So these Christians, they're not really Christians, man. Because to be basically Christian is to be Christ-like, but we say, to be like the Lord, Yahweh Shai, right? Salakia. 144, baby. Okay, it says, many critics accuse Steele of spiritualizing emotional abuse, with one user labeling it spiritual psychosis. Others said this kind of messaging perpetuates harmful ideas about women tolerating infidelity. See? In the name of faith. See, they call it infidelity because you got another woman. As a matter of fact, let me see here, Salakia. Go into it like this. I think it's worded. Because they'll call it adultery and all that. And what adultery is in the scriptures is not you dealing with multiple women. It's if you dealing with a woman that's married. Or if you're dealing with a woman that's, you know what I'm saying, she's got a man or she's betrothed to another man, as far as a man goes. And adultery is if a woman steps out on her. Because a woman really, the very first guy that she gets with, she's supposed to stay with that man forever. She's not supposed to be letting, other men, bang her head against a damn headboard, man. She's supposed to be stuck with that one man until death, and that's the New Testament as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to find this one in the law. I may have worded it wrong. Salakia. Let me see. It may take me a sec on this one. It's been a while. I'm trying to think how it's worded. It's in the law here somewhere. Should be in Leviticus. Salaki, bear with me. But yeah, these women, man, they don't want nothing to do with the Bible for real. Neither do these men. You know what I'm saying? Because these women in America, they're raising a bunch of simp ass men, man. Daddy cheating on mama. You even got the little sons. Daddy, I seen you with that other woman. Who's that? Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Man. Trying to think how that was worded. Salakia, though. Is it taketh? Yeah, I'm not seeing it right off, but it's a script. It's the law that talks about it. If a man takes another wife, and he loves that, even though he may love that wife more than he loves the other wife, you know what I'm saying? He's still not supposed to take away, if he has sons, the wife that he loved the most, if say both women have sons, the inheritance goes to the son of the wife that even he may hate. He may not like her. But if she has his firstborn son, his inheritance must go to that firstborn son of the wife that he hates. That's the law, man. I wish I can find it. You know what? I may have to. Let me see here. Bear with me. Okay, all right, let me see. Yep, here we go right here. Yeah, it was in Exodus. That I'm looking in the wrong place. I don't know why I was thinking it was in Leviticus. Okay, but this is the AI overview. I just put in, okay. It says the Bible addresses the topic of a man taking another wife, specifically in the context of the ancient Israelite laws and practices, without necessarily endorsing or condemning the practice outright. No, it wasn't condemned. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said to be fruitful and multiply. How are you going to be fruitful and multiplying? You dealing with one woman. All right? It says, which specifies that if a man takes a second wife, so that's the law. If a man takes a second wife, he must not diminish the rights of the first wife in terms of food, clothing, and marital rights. Genesis 4:19 mentions Lamech taking two wives. And other verses like 2 Samuel 12:8 and 2 Chronicles 11:21 describes historical figures with multiple wives. King Solomon, had 700 wives and 300 concubines, right? But the 12 tribes of Israel come from 4 women. Exodus 21:1, this verse is found in the Old Testament, addresses the situation where a man takes another wife. It emphasizes that he cannot diminish the rights of the first wife regarding food, clothing, and marital duties. Genesis 4:19, this verse tells of Lamech, a descendant of Cain, who took 2 wives. This is one of the earliest instances of polygamy mentioned in the Bible. Other historical examples, the Bible mentions other historical figures who had multiple wives, such as King David, King Solomon. While the New Testament does not explicitly forbid polygamy, it does emphasize the importance of one wife and one husband in the context of Christian marriage. It's important to note that the practice of polygamy was not explicitly prohibited in the Old Testament, but it was regulated to protect the rights of wives. The New Testament emphasized, okay, all right, anyway. So let's just go to Exodus 21 and 10 real quick. Let's see here. Oh, here we go right here. And I had it highlighted too. It says, if he take him, Exodus 21:10, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. And if he do not these 3 unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So if he handling business, he providing her with food, he providing her with her clothing, he's, sexing her down, so to speak, then she has to stay there and deal, man, So let me see, it might be some precepts. Or they only, okay, cool. They don't have no precepts on it. But there's plenty of precepts where, the men had multiple wives. Matter of fact, Leah and Rachel, they actually, like I said, the 12 tribes of Israel come from 4 women. They actually gave their handmaids to Jacob. So he had 4 women. And they was all together. They was all traveling together. They was situated together. Not like they was, having damn orgies and shit like that. But shit, hey, Jacob, man, he go from tent to tent, man. If a woman would, of course, if they were on their monthly, their blood issues, you know what I'm saying, he would have to go somewhere else anyway because he couldn't be around her for, that amount of time. So he would go to the next woman. He had 12 sons, man, out of that, man. Right? And then you had Sarah. She gave her handmaid Hagar to our forefather Isaac. That's where Ishmael come from, the Arabs today. She gave. She actually, she was like, this was a Eastern thing. This is what was going on in the ancient times, man. But see, today, these women today, because they've been set up on a pedestal, they're able to go out and get jobs. They're able to, you know what I'm saying. I can do what a man can do. You know what I'm saying. I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man. But they'll tell you they Christians, bro. But you get to telling them about these types of scriptures, or just ask them if they really a real Christian, you know. But some of these women are starting to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been seeing a lot more videos of women talking about how, hey, look, bitch, you're going to have to share that man. Because look, a large majority of the men, especially amongst the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? As far as Israelites, a lot of these men they're not dealing with the woman. They're not dealing with the woman if they're straight like that. And they're really not dealing with, of course, they're not dealing with the women if they going that other way. That alphabet shit. Then you got a whole bunch of niggas in jail. You know what I'm saying? So the numbers is scarce as far as the men out here, man. And then this is where you're gonna come across now this comes to mind by the spirit, Isaiah 4:1. When this comes about, it says in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So things are going to get so bad in the earth where 7 women are going to take hold of one man. And that word 7, or that number 7, it goes into completion. So, one guy could have 30 women, 40 women. Shit, I think, trying to think, Gideon. Let me see. Gideon, man, I think Gideon, man, he had like 100 kids down there. Let me see. No, that was the Old Testament. Yep, it says the Bible states that Gideon had many wives and 70 sons. That's not including daughters that he had. So he probably had about 100 kids, man. It says additionally, he had a concubine in Shechem who bore him a son named Abimelech, Salakia. Therefore, he had at least 70 sons from multiple wives and another son from a concubine, according to the Bible. The exact number of wives is not specified. But there's plenty of men, man. Look, this was a thing. These are just the men that's just being mentioned. It's a gang of them that's being mentioned in the scriptures. But this was a real thing that was going on at the time, man. The more money you had, the more you had to be able to take care of these women, though. It's not like it is today, where dudes just well, I'm bouncing over here this weekend. I'm going over here this weekend. I might meet up with this freak down in this city or whatever the case. No, it wasn't like how it is now, man. Marriages had a lot to do with carrying on the family gene, the family lineage, so to speak, and also it was like a business transaction. It was to basically further prosperity, so to speak, man. Because a woman was a man's property. That's what the scripture says. But these women today, they don't want to hear no shit like that. And that's why the apostles be telling us, just, especially with the so-called black woman, you can cut it out, man. I just heard, I was listening to the apostle Ramblab just a little while ago, and they was mentioning that these so-called black women out here talking about putting down $1,000 down payment before you can even date them. Like, what the fuck is the bitches? You crazy? This is how crazy they done got, bro. But see, the Lord is going to bring it back to this Isaiah 4:1. But let's see, I don't want to keep this long, but they definitely dragging this lady. But, she's doing it really out of, she has a zeal for the Lord, but not according to knowledge, man. Okay, so some of these people saying, y'all love to justify foolishness by including God. Another commenter said, this is why you can't take advice from everybody. Somebody else says, may this level of delusion never find me. See? Many critics accuse Steele of spiritualizing emotional abuse. Okay, who is Kelly Steele? Kelly Steele is a well-known Christian author, speaker, and women's ministry leader. Now, if she's leading women and she's trying to tell women how to be wives, and doing that, and teaching the children, that's perfectly fine. But if she's got an open church, so to speak, you know what I'm saying, where she's teaching men, then she will be going off. Because the scriptures talks about, I suffer not a woman to teach and to not usurp authority over the man. Okay, it says, together they had 5 adult children and 4 granddaughters. Okay, she's a founder of the Women's Kingdom Women's Ministry and hosts the annual Kingdom Women's Conference, which draws thousands of attendees from around the country. She is also the author of 2 books, Depression Defeated, Your Pit Has a Purpose and Legacy. Yeah, all that shit. All right. Despite the backlash, Steele continues to stand by her faith-centered teachings on marriage. She has not yet responded directly to the public criticism. Okay, well, it is what it is. And then you already know the comments. See, this person says, God would not grace you to find your husband a side piece. Your husband was a cheater and hateful and spiteful. He put witchcraft all over you. See, this is what, this is how they think in the West, because they looking at the way that Esau set up his kingdom. See, Esau, in this very same kingdom that they believe in, she could have done the same exact thing that he's doing. Could have got pregnant by a whole nother man. And possibly this guy would have had to pay child support and take care of this bitch if she left him. So she has the freedom to gad abroad in this country. And see, this is where they get this type of mindset. They have that freedom to gad abroad mindset, because this is America. I mean, just not just here in America. This shit is wherever so-called white people rule. They twist the scriptures, man. They twist things around. Matter of fact, let's get It's just that mindset. This is why the apostles they really be telling us, like, hey man, watch out, man. Be careful of these women, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Isaiah 4:1 rides around, and that's coming soon, and it's already happening overall. It's already kind of like the pot is already being stirred, so to speak. You know what I'm saying on that? Because these women are struggling, man, and they starting to see that they need a damn man. But anyway, this is Isaiah 5:20. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." See? And this is what Esau has done. So he has flipped the mindset of what people really should be thinking. These people are totally left, man. They're not right. They don't have no. They're not even nowhere near the right. They not nowhere near the center. They leaning all the way left, man, on some wickedness. So they'll you can go into the comment boards and wicked women online. They getting all kinds of praise, man, for being wicked as hell, ass shaking, ass bouncing. They can actually get on social media and brag about having 7 baby daddies. Go and have a damn surgery, a snatch, or whatever they want to call it, a Brazilian butt job, and get right back out here on the market. Motherfucker out here in their 60s still trying to act like they fucking 20. This is the world that you live in. This place is crazy, bro. But you're not going to get no positive comments. You ain't going to get no comments leaning more towards no men having to, because they don't believe in the scriptures. Somebody says if he's a real pastor standing up for the word of God, then he should know adultery is sin according to the Bible. See, they don't understand what adultery is. They think that adultery is you cheating on your girlfriend. That's not what adultery is, man. Adultery is you sleeping with another man's woman. That's what adultery is. If that woman is single and she's telling you she's single, she's really single for real, you can deal with her, man. Why you got a woman? You can deal with her. It just is what it is. That's scriptural. But see, these people don't understand what adultery is. They've been told that in the American way that, how dare you? You're cheating on me. I can't fucking believe it. This place is retarded, bro. And this is why when the Lord comes, he's going to set things back in order, man. Yep. Says she is the foolish woman in the book of Proverbs. Nope, it's not true. She's still with her damn husband. I bet you that, right? She still got her man. She didn't, as far as I can see, I'm not sure, but it seems as if she didn't step out on him, right? Oh, here goes somebody. Okay. This got hard times from Memphis, Tennessee. It says it's obvious most Christians have never read the Bible. If they had, they would realize in the Old Testament, God doesn't have a problem with side chicks. Exactly. Here goes somebody. But we're living under the dispensation of grace now. That is why Jesus died on the cross. What was, what is the New Testament and what says the Lord God Jesus. But a Bible reader would know. See? Come on, bro. With that white Jesus shit. Man, these people, man. Anyway. Somebody says the exact reason why I stopped attending the black churches. Well, I mean, the black church is wicked as hell anyway. I'm not, justifying any of that shit. All these churches are wicked. White, Korean, you even got Korean, Japanese. It's a bunch of people that believe in white Jesus, man. All that shit is wickedness. You know why? Because a white Jesus is a damn idol. White Jesus is going to get a lot of people destroyed. Now, see, the Lord finally clipped the Pope. That chubby fat mother being pushed around in a goddamn wheelchair like he's God. The Lord finally clipped his fucking ass. Now I'm watching it in the backdrop right here. These people all out there, they all in the Vatican and everybody praying and rubbing on them goddamn beads. I'm looking at a nigga woman right now praying for this motherfucker. Man, fuck out of here. Pope he's probably about at the point of saying the Lord was never with the shit that he was talking about, and he's really fucking, he would be at peace. Don't get me wrong, but he's got that mindset of I've led the people astray. I've led the people astray. If they only knew what's really coming. Pope, he sees what's popping now. You know what I'm saying? And man, that dude done led so many people astray. And that Catholic church shit, man, they done dealt with so many children in the wrong way, man. It's crazy, bro. That shit shouldn't even be an establishment. They just paid out like $1 billion recently. You know what I'm saying? For all that molestation and shit like that they was doing to them children, man. Right? All this Mother Mary shit. Rosary beads. Now they having they got the rosary service going on right now. The place is all packed. Motherfuckers probably gonna take the week off. Maybe the month off, depends. St. Peter's Square, Vatican City. Fuck out of here, man. I was hoping the Lord tucked that nigga when he was in the hospital. But matter of fact, I seen it yesterday. I seen it on TV. I'm looking like, man, that dude look like that motherfucker can barely wave his hand. He trying to wave at the people and shit. I'm like, this motherfucker's a step from death. And I'll be doggone. I woke up this morning and seen the fucking news. Like, yep, Lord got his ass, man. So anyway, you got to come out of that Western mindset, man, when it comes to this truth, man. You cannot come into this truth and continue to live like a damn regular old fucking nigga Christian, man. You got to come out of that shit. You have to really, when they say brainwash, you have to really wash your brain of everything that you've ever known, everything that you've ever learned about Christianity and any parts of this society, man, because the wrong things have been beaten into us for so long, man. Like our people are done. But again, yeah, this lady, man, she just done what she was doing she's thinking that she's a strong Christian woman. But all that shit she was doing, man, is really in vain because she don't know why she was really doing it. She had an idea that, okay, this is the Bible. I got to stick to my Christian roots. But you're worshiping an idol. It's the crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just wanted to just point out, the points of, men being able to have multiple women. And this is what it's going back to. When the Lord comes and sets up the kingdom, it's going back to men having multiple women. We're going to have multiple wives, man. We're not going to be all sex deprived and shit like that, like how we are in this kingdom, man. That's not shit. This shit not flying, man. We gonna be producing. We're going to be having sex. We're going to be having children, man. Might fuck around and have 1,000 children in 1 year. Shit, you got 1,000 women, you able to pop just whatever. Like for real, man. This is what it's going back to. We're gonna have new bodies. We're gonna be a lot more energetic. We're not gonna be on Esau's fucking genetically modified foods and all the shit that he puts in shit to sterilize motherfuckers. We're not gonna be like that, man, in the kingdom. We're gonna shut all this shit down and we're gonna be set up in a righteous kingdom, man. Because the Lord created man to have multiple women. That's just a part of it, man. You women are just on the tip of, you're out of place. You're out of fucking order, man. And that's the reason why a lot of you are starting to be deleted in such a horrible way. You look at the news, man, these women, man, people not playing with these women no more, man. They getting done up in a very horrible way, man. The deaths that's coming upon these women, man, is incredible. But anyway, I'm going to end out there, man. I pray that this lesson was edifying with that. Kwame Sha'ala and the Baba Ball.